What do you have next, Ethan?
Segment of the year. So
Ooh.
now we're in award territory. But segment of the year is fitness. And I think
Oh.
there's a few reasons why. One,
Okay.
I can't shake the decline narrative that was so prominent a few years ago where we're like, oh, that's it, we're never going to gyms again.
Right.
Also, we have to remember that even when the sector bounced back, everyone was like, well, oh, that's because, Planet Fitness and these value-oriented chains are really cheap. And so they're kind of tapping into that potential. Totally true. But this year we've seen a massive recovery, even in the kind of more high-end chains, more visits per venue, significant growth. So the fact that it's across
Hmm.
the board is super significant. So it's the lastingness of it. Like there's a stability to this trend of growth on growth. It's widespread, so it's happening kind of across these different sub segments within fitness. And I think that speaks to the power of it and the ability to succeed no matter what the customer is looking for. So for customers that are like, hey, I want a Peloton in my house, I want to do Soul Cycle a couple of times a week, and I want Planet Fitness, amazing. I want to spend more on the gym, I'm going to go to Lifetime, I'm going to go there every day, because I'm not going to spend on other things. Great, they're taken care of. So I think this segment has really grown into its own and driven this increased wave that is lasting several years after that initial peak.
Yeah, Ethan, I'd be really curious to get even more into the data, like looking at things like Lifetime really moving towards this like not just a fitness concept, but a place that's got a work component. They've got childcare. They're really kind of designed, their whole theme was like we want to be the like country club experience, not just so you're spending more time there than just for fitness. So I'd be curious either this time if you have that data to support like which brands are really strongest here, or if impacted things or if there's been things that have impacted it like a Lifetime that's opened say at a shopping mall destination or
Mhm.
something like that, like if some of these things have changed the growth in this area or impacted the growth in this segment.
Yeah, I mean, broad strokes, it's what you're talking about. It's the players that are on that higher end of the spectrum are winning
Yeah.
based off of repeat consumer visitation, so more visits per venue. Whereas the value chain is benefiting off the idea that hey, I can be part of the mix and still succeed. And
Yeah.
for us, that also shows like a real rationality to the decision making. Like it makes sense. So you think it's more lasting because the consumer is making a very clear choice of, hey, I'm going to do a value gym because I want to make it part of a wider mix. I'm going to choose a more expensive gym and I'm going to make that my core place. And I think chains in general across the board that really know who they are and what they bring to their audience are those that succeed most. And this is a sign for us that these players really have a sense of who they are and what they bring to the table.
So Ethan, going back to the first award based on some of the data you shared, I'm curious because this segment of the year it kind of flies in the face of the macroeconomic conditions, right? High inflation, people cutting back on their spend on certain things, but yet here the fitness industry is for all intents and purposes is still getting that spend. So are you
Mhm.
seeing that spend from all demographics, from all age demographics, all income demographics, or is it weighted one direction over another?
I think that we're thus far when we've done these analyses and these comparisons. Now, granted, to do it really well, you do need to look in each region and understand the differences in each space. But
Right.
overall, again, broad strokes, it's
Mm-hmm.
fairly across the board. And I think that's the what's
Interesting.
so effective about the sector is these brands are puzzle pieces and they're fitting within each individual's ideal fitness mix. And so the idea that I can be more value oriented via certain chains. I can look for this more holistic country club experience via other chains. It's creating homes for lots of different segments. I think so long as expansions and growth is handled intelligently and not,
Uh-huh.
we don't see it overdone. So if we had to put
Right.
a flip side of this, we had a skew negative, I would say that the dollar store segment was probably would be our flip side of a segment of the year just because they were riding this wave and then are
Right.
seeing this kind of come down. And a lot of that is just because too rapid expansion, not a clear sense of like where are we going and why are we going to those places. And I think so as long as this space avoids that, they're going to see this continued success.
Right. So it's interesting. So it's kind of similar to what we've heard around the travel, that travel and fitness are becoming kind of necessities for people and things that people
Mm-hmm.
still want to spend money on. and they want to find their cutback lanes through other means or other vehicles. That's really interesting.